You've probably been in this argument before. Someone says, the book was so much better than the movie, and someone else rolls their eyes and says, I just don't have time to read. And it feels like a personality clash, right? Like one person is more intellectual, the other more casual. Here's the thing, that's not what's happening at all. The medium you prefer isn't about your taste, it's about how your brain is wired to process stories. Let me explain. Psychologists have identified something called need for cognition. Sounds complicated, but it's simple. Some people have a high need for cognition. They enjoy mental effort. They like building worlds in their head. Abstract thinking energizes them. Other people have a low need for cognition, and before you judge that, it's not about intelligence. It's just different wiring. They prefer stories that come pre-constructed, visually and emotionally. Neither is better. They're just optimized for different experiences. If you love books, your brain probably craves the effort of constructing the story yourself. You enjoy the work. If you love movies, your brain prefers receiving a complete sensory package. You enjoy the immersion. Here's what's wild. This explains why the same person can love one format for certain moods and hate it in others. People who prefer books aren't smarter. They just have a different relationship with internal imagery. When you read, your brain is doing something called active construction. You're building faces, voices, landscapes, emotions, all from scratch. That process, for some people, it's deeply satisfying. But for others, that same process feels like friction. Why work to imagine a castle when someone can show you one? Here's the difference. Books reward effort. Movies reduce friction, and neither experience is superior. One is a workout, the other is a delivery system. The person who says, I couldn't picture it while reading, isn't failing at reading. Their brain just doesn't prioritize that skill and doesn't need to. Now here's where it gets interesting. Visual media has a hidden advantage that nobody talks about. It fulfills social needs. When you watch a show, you're not just consuming entertainment. You're forming parasocial relationships with characters and actors. You're participating in a shared cultural event. Think about it. Movie premieres, weekly episode drops, live tweeting during a finale, memes the next morning. Watching stories isn't solitary anymore. It's communal. Books are intimate. You're alone with the author's voice. Movies are social. You're part of a moment everyone else is experiencing too. This is why visual media dominates the cultural conversation. It's not just storytelling, it's connection. Let's talk about how people actually watch things now. Most viewers aren't just watching, they're on their phones. Texting reactions, scrolling Twitter, posting stories. This isn't distraction, it's enhancement. Social media turned watching into a group activity. You're laughing with strangers online. You're theorizing with friends. You're bonding over shared reactions. Books can't do that, and that's not a flaw. It's just a different experience. Visual media creates shared moments. Books create personal ones. If your brain craves connection while you consume stories, you'll drift toward screens. If your brain craves solitude, you'll drift toward pages. Here's something that surprised researchers. Watching shows with a romantic partner actually mimics the effect of having shared friendships. Seriously. Couples who watch fictional characters together report feeling closer, especially when they don't have many mutual friends in real life. The fictional world becomes an emotional bridge. You're laughing at the same jokes, mourning the same deaths, debating the same plot twists. Here's the power line. Sharing a show can bond people the same way sharing real friends does. Books can do this too, but it's harder. You can't read together in real time. You can't pause and react. The experience is sequential, not simultaneous. For people whose brains are wired to connect through shared experience, visual media just fits better. Let's be honest about the practical side. Movies deliver escapism in 2 hours. Books demand 10, 20, 30 hours of commitment. Modern life is fragmented. Attention is currency. Time is scarce. A movie gives you a complete emotional arc in one sitting. A book asks you to return, night after night, and rebuild the world. Neither is wrong, but one matches the rhythm of contemporary life better. Fantasy survives in both formats, but each scratches a different psychological itch. Books satisfy the itch for depth and construction. Movies satisfy the itch for immediacy and connection. I guess the bottom line is that books aren't better than movies. Movies aren't replacing books. They're answering different psychological needs. Imagination versus connection. Effort versus immediacy. Solitude versus shared experience. The medium you love most says less about your taste and more about how your mind likes to escape. So next time someone says, the book was better, don't hear judgment, hear brain wiring. And next time someone says, I don't read, don't hear laziness, hear a different path to the same place, getting lost in a story. So comment down below, are you team books or are you team movies? You might even be a mix of both. If you enjoyed the videos, please like and subscribe for more simple psychology.